Hey guys, it's Alam. In today's video I'm going to be showing you guys a few more projects that I am working on in my Minecraft creative map. So we'll begin today's video with the expanded world border. Previously guys, the world border in my map was at 6,400 blocks out, but now it is at 7,200 blocks out. And if I turn around, you'll see that I am actually recreating the Fringe Lands from the Bedrock Edition Farlands near the world border. Or in this case, the final stage on the x-axis, which is just one block lines. And if we head this way, you'll actually see the first stage of true Fringe Lands that I built over here. And some of the artifacts here are actually not even finished. And oh, the music is off. For a second there, I thought that was going to be an issue. But yeah. See here, some of the artifacts are not even finished. Now I will actually finish a couple of these live. So we'll start with this comb artifact right here. Oh, the dog's hacking. Anyway. So what I'm doing here is I go every 4th block, and I build the stone up 7 blocks. And the reason I've lowered 1 block is because these are actually supposed to be stretched out basins, which normally lower the terrain by 1 block. So I would actually put 8 blocks in the grassy areas. And the reason why there's no stone in the grassy areas is because by the point that I am recreating, the biome fill noise will have actually long since overflowed. Anyway, so what I do is I go 3 blocks and then put a 4th one and then build up. This is gonna take quite a while. It's gonna be pretty repetitive, so feel free to skip this part of the video. But I guess that's enough for now. You guys get the idea. So now let's head over here. Let's do /fill 69, tab 6961. It's 40 blocks. It's probably good. 1 or 2, and then 36. Then grass block. So when I type in this command, you're going to see that this whole strip will be filled with grass block. So now let's build the pillars up on the side. And the reason I am not putting any variation in the artifact as we move along is actually because selector noise too have long since overflowed by the point that I'm recreating. Normally, the Fringe Lands would spawn in the Java Edition Farlands at about 9.17 times 10 to the 48 blocks. I actually briefly mentioned it during my real-life and terrain generation video back in early April. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this out up to where I began recreating the final stage. Yeah, that's about good. Now bringing up the last of the pillars here. There. So in a little bit, guys, I will show you the Z Fringe Lands as well. But first, let's head to 5270, 121. So put me about where I am recreating the beginning of the Farlands. Previously, I'd only built it in the corner, but here I'm actually building it in the edge as well. You can see here kind of how I had the variation in the Farlands just stop. That's the beginning of the Farlands. And did I mention that the final stage of the Java Edition Fringe Lands, in which I showed my recreation of the end of at the beginning, would actually spawn at about would actually end at about 1.82833327 times 10 to the 59th blocks out. Pretty incredible. But now let's head over to 1/100, 7,000. About it. So when this loads up, you're going to see my recreation of the Z Fringe Lands. And which are a bit thicker than the X ones, and in fact initiate slightly later than the X ones as well, and that's because fewer equations are used on the Z axis than on the X axis. And it's basically the same idea here, only instead of fading out completely, I have it phase out into sky grid like terrain at the very end. So if I actually plan to have a desert biome in the Z Fringe Lands right around here. And this is actually at the end of the Farlands in my map that are based around the 64-bit mod. If I use pp tilde negative, let's just do negative 2500. All right. So you're gonna see when this loads up that I actually have built some repeating patterns here. And again, the 64-bit mod, if you teleport to like 500 quadrillion or even 1 quintillion, you would find a lot of repetitive patterns in the Farlands that actually repeat every chunk, and maybe the result of selector noise losing precision. So now let's head over here and build such a pattern live. So let's start by building a section of edge Farlands terrain. Maybe like so. And then let's bring this out a little more. And then let's bring this over a bit more. And now let's head over 16 blocks past where the pattern began, and build the same landform again. 1, 2, 23. All right, let's actually extend this a little more. So this is basically pretty much how I built all the repeating patterns that you see around here. And this is actually only 15 blocks, so let's bring this over one more. Boop, 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 boop. And then put a few blocks here because this edge is kind of flat. Let's bring this over and bring this out up to another 16 blocks after the gap here. 51. There. So then let's bring this up another block, and let's rebuild the same formation again after another 16 blocks. I think you get the idea. So I go every 16 blocks, and we can build the same pattern again. And then eventually I have it phase out to a new pattern. And then, like, maybe this. But I won't actually take the time to build that as this video is already dragging on quite a bit. And then I would bring the edges down, like so. And Actually, let's put a couple dirt blocks on here. And I would do the same on, and then I would do the same on the other. Yeah, you pretty much get the idea. Let's go and bring this over here. Let's go back, down. Let's down then. There. You guys got the idea. Alright, so now let's head to till the negative 400. So this should put us about the beginning of our Farlands based on the 64-bit mod. And here you'll see that I'm actually building an island with the slight errors in normal terrain generation seen just before the 64-bit Farlands that I actually mentioned in the last video. So this is basically just a regular edge Farlands at the beginning. But yeah, so let's now head to negative 800, 100, 800. So if you remember in my video on the dark forest biome a while back, the trees are actually still it's rather similar to vanilla trees, and I kind of rushed that one. But recently I improved the trees. I made them a bit taller and a bit less manicured, and some of them I'm not done with. And I also replaced the ocean here with a mountain range, which I plan to then bring down into maybe a taiga biome or something. And I built a crevice here. And from the unfinished mountains, you can sort of see how I build them. And up here, I built an icy peaks biome, and I plan to have another crevice right here. I also, while working on this, I actually encountered a couple bizarre lighting glitches around here. Here. Oh, well, actually, they seem to be all fixed now that I teleported back here. But there were a couple chunks that were all dark below a certain, below the Y coordinate at the top of a certain section. If I head over to negative 800, or negative 800, a little bit. Well, it's actually the frozen ocean biome. If I head in this direction, you'll eventually see that near this there's a large house that I built a while back. So I made the design on this one slightly different. I put like sort of like a courtyard, a garden, in the middle, and an outdoor area on top, and a few towers. And over here, I'm actually beginning to work on a third port city. But yeah, I've already got a spruce tree as a centerpiece to this intersection here. And I worked on a couple buildings here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and comment suggestions down below, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And hit the bell and click on all to get all notifications. And goodbye.